Hello and welcome to this tutorial on IRI DarkShield to consistently identify and mask PII in various relational databases. This tutorial is another part of a series of tutorials about designing and running DarkShield jobs in IRI Workbench with DarkShield version 5, which has had significant changes from the previous DarkShield versions. DarkShield supports any relational database that can be connected to with a JDBC driver. Getting started, we must first have a database connection profile created in our Data Source Explorer. To create a connection, you can see this icon here with the plus sign. Here we can select our database type. And then on this page here, we would pass in our credentials, username, password, other parameters. And we'd also pass in the path to our jar file. I have a profile connection already set up. If I ping it, it'll let me know it's already connected, successful. So for this demo, I'm going to be searching and masking a healthcare schema, reading from a patient table that has some PII in it. It has some names, last names, addresses, email, phone number, social security number. And if you see, I've created a DarkShield project here. It's an empty one currently, but I added a data class library, and I added some data classes and masking rules. My data classes for emails, names, and social security numbers. The scope of this demo is focused on DarkShield, but if you're interested in learning more about data classes and masking rules, there are other videos that go more in depth on this. Before we get started, I just want to mention that you should have configured your preferences so that a DarkShield API has been specified. So if you go to DarkShield and Preferences, you can see I have a DarkShield API distribution that I've pointed to. And as you can see, I have it currently running. So now I'll go ahead and create a DarkShield job for relational databases. If you look here, we have a toolbar for our DarkShield wizards. And we have wizards for file, NoSQL, and relational. And sort of the focus of this demo is relational. We'll go ahead and open this wizard. So from this wizard, first enter options for the project and the workspace where the job will be produced, a name for the DarkShield job, and optionally whether or not to create a subfolder within the selected project, and if so, what the subfolder name should be. Also, a mode of operation can be selected. This indicates the type of job, whether we'll just be searching for PII and annotating it, or whether we will be doing a masking job separate that follows up after a search job, or whether we do a search and mask job in one pass. For this demo, we're just doing a search and mask job. And next, I'll be selecting my IRI library that I will be using, and I have one inside this project. And as you can see, it shows me the data classes I have and the masking rules. From this page, you can deactivate or activate your data classes that you wish to use for this project. Here we can assign various masking rules to different data classes. You can see here I have two masking rules, an encryption and a redaction masking rule. Depending on the type of PII you're working with, you may have different levels of security. You may want, some PII to be reversible after it's been masked, and others to be non-reversible masking. Like social security numbers. So next I'll indicate my source where I'll be reading from and looking for PII. So I'll select my database profile that I had made, and I'll select the schema. I'll be working with healthcare, and you can choose to read from multiple tables or just filter it down to one if you want it, or a few. I'm going to be reading from patient. On this page you can also restrict the row limit, and then on the next page after we can indicate the JDBC data types that we can search for. We can deactivate or activate which data types we're going to be searching through and masking. And then here is the target where we're going to be writing our masked output to. If you have your source and target the same, then the source will end up being overridden by the masked output. So for this demo though, I'm going to be writing to a different schema so that I can maintain my test data that I'm working with. So I will be writing to the schema mask health instead. Okay, as you can see, a .dsc file has been created. This is our DarkShield job file, is what we call it. It contains our configurations that the DarkShield API will consume to run a job. As indicated in the file, it's going to be reading from the healthcare schema and writing to the mask health schema, and it will be using these data classes paired to these masking roles. And just looking inside this table for a patient, sampling the content, you can see some PI in it. And if you look at this empty table in mass health schema, it's empty. So now I'll go ahead and run my DarkShield job, and this should be populated with some masked output. So you can run the job by right-clicking on the file. Then you can choose to either do a search job, a mask job, or search and masking job. And I'm going to do a search and masking job for this demo. Okay, and it's finished, and it gives us a results log. And it lets us know what data classes found what, and the masked results of the mask function being applied. Okay, so let's go ahead now and take a look at the masked output. Okay. Get this out here for us. Okay, so I used 3 data classes: an email data class to find emails, a data class to find names, and a data class to find social security numbers. And I applied different masking rules to these data classes. Let's see if I can do a side-by-side here. All right. Okay, as you can see, this is the original and this is the masked output. It found names, and then it perform format preserving encryption on it. There was emails. Let's see if I can expand this. And the emails have been found by the data class email, And a masking rule has been applied to format preserving encryption. Format preserving encryption is encryption that preserves the character length, the uppercase and lowercase, and special characters, like the @ sign and the dot. And then next, moving on, we have a social security number data class. Here's the originals. And this is data class matching on the social security numbers and applying a masking rule of redaction. Notice how it's been replaced with asterisk. This is non-reversible, which is preferable depending on certain use cases. So this was a simple demonstration of using the DarkShield API to search and mask relational databases using the DarkShield RDB the new relational DB search and masking job wizard. Thank you, and look forward to speaking to you again.